It's 8:47, 13 to 9 at 6:30. CHED. I'm kind of excited this morning because I get to talk to author J.S. Smith, who I've known as Scott Smith for many years, who now used to be a writer here at the station, now works at, which sister station is it in Toronto that you're with, Scott?
Q107.
Q107, all right, excellent. And all those times that Scott was writing commercials in the back, I had no idea that in the back of his mind the wheels were turning, thinking, I've got to write a novel someday. Was this your first novel that you came out with?
Yeah.
Okay, all right. And am I your first media interview, Scott?
No, I'm sorry, Bruce. Mr. Adler beat you to the punch.
Oh yeah, I knew. I didn't know if he interviewed you. I knew that he had an excerpt from your book on. So, well, that's great. Well, I was beaten by the best, so that's cool. And I was mentioning that your book was released on Friday by the Grace of Good Friday, the name of the novel. And it was a freebie Friday, too. How did the downloads go, do you know, at Amazon.com?
It went really well, actually. There were 270 downloads over the day and another 10 in the UK, and that's pretty good considering I didn't do any promotion in the UK.
Wow, that's great. Well, maybe you can give us a bit of a synopsis what the book's all about.
It's about a guy who's in the IRA, and he's not quite out at this point, and he's really disenchanted with the way things are going and the attacks on civilian targets instead of on military targets. And he's tired of it all. He just wants a normal life. He wants to get out of it. And he sees the Good Friday Agreement in 1998 as the way to maybe make that step into a new life. But sadly, his old life doesn't want to let him go.
I've read some of the excerpts, and it's really well written, by the way. Congratulations.
Thank you.
And, I mentioned I've known you for years at places like the Egg Banquet out at Josephburg and the Chicken Dinner out there. And as far as I know, Scott, you were never in the IRA.
No.
No. But
no.
It's written, it's written as if you have some inside knowledge of this. What kind of research do you put into a book like this?
Since I was probably 17, 18 years old, I've just had a real fascination with Ireland, and I just began researching that kind of stuff. I mean, there's lots on the internet, there's tons of books out there. I'm probably one of the only people you will know that owns a concise history of the of Irish history from the 16th century or something like that. So
I didn't know that about you. Well, that's very cool. How long did it take you to put all this together then?
Oh, a very long time.
Yeah.
I got the idea the day after the agreement was signed in 1998, and I just started hacking away at it, a day here, a day there. Just being in front of the computer all day at work, it was like going home. The last thing I wanted to do was look at a computer for another few hours.
Oh,
so
yeah.
I had to be in the right mood to get on it.
What kind of mood did this leave your wife Jody in when you're on the computer all the time?
If I'm not out there bothering her, she's quite happy with that.
There, all right. See, there you go. Well, that's great. No, it is a great book. I understand that Adler read a little excerpt too. Could we play that this morning, possibly?
Sure.
Okay, great.
Michael Colin Kennedy's heart was pounding. He felt like a rabbit with a greyhound on its trail. His chest was heaving as he drew great gasps of air into his aching lungs. He had been on the run from British soldiers for an hour, having narrowly escaped a pre-dawn raid of the Derry safe house where he had stayed the night. And since then, he had raced through alleys, jumped fences, crashed through abandoned buildings to elude the British patrol on his tail, barefoot and without a weapon. Michael Colin Kennedy ran through the rain, water splashing under his shoeless feet. Finally, he reached the building he'd been heading towards, scampering up the fire escape to the top of the 3-story building, burst through the unlocked door, and continued just a few yards down a hallway. Finding the door to the roof, he scurried through it, up the stairs, bolting out of the rooftop door. Quickly, he made for the fresh air vent and removed the hooded cover. Fastened to the inside of the sheet metal dome was a light 1/4-inch thick rope that dropped tautly down the air shaft. He began drawing the rope upward, and then shortly a canvas gun case appeared, along with a vinyl Adidas gym bag that clattered when he sat it on the roof. He knelt down, detached both bags from the rope, and then unzipped the gun case, revealing an Armalite assault rifle. Then, opening the other bag, he pulled out an ammo clip and snapped it into the gun. Flicking the safety catch off, he dashed to the parapet of the building on the side overlooking the alley he had so recently vacated. A pair of British soldiers, commonly referred to as the Paras, were cautiously making their way between the buildings. Michael sighted along the barrel of his weapon, targeting the soldier in the lead position. Gently he squeezes the trigger. There's an abrupt crack as the Armalite discharges, and the man's knee blows apart. The soldier lay writhing on the ground, screaming in agony, both hands clamped around his shattered appendage. His partner, racing forward and grabbing hold of the wounded man's armored vest, begins dragging him toward cover behind a nearby trash bin, and Michael takes aim and fires again as the pair of Paras scramble behind the bin. This time, the bullet misses the mark, caroms off the steel dumpster. Mick is preparing to squeeze off another round when a woman's voice begins screaming. He looks past the soldiers up the alley. 20 yards past them, a young woman, reaching into a pram. "No," she screams. "No, my baby." Rising up from the pram, she holds a tiny child in her arms. Heedless of the two soldiers lying behind the dumpster, she staggers past them toward the roadway, screeching for help. As she comes nearer, Mick can see the little bundle was stained crimson. Nausea sweeps over him instantly, and he drops the weapon, his body contracting violently as he retches out the contents of his stomach. Tears stream down his face as he gags on the vomit, choking out a mortal sob. Until now, the adrenaline rushing through his veins had kept him warm in the rain, but suddenly he's so cold he begins to shiver uncontrollably. Behind him he hears the door to the roof bang open and footsteps running toward him. Certain it was more soldiers, he placed his hands behind his head, expecting a gun butt in the back of his skull or a bullet in the brain, but instead strong arms lift him up and spin him around.
Wow. Powerful stuff, Scott. Your research is impeccable. I mean, even to the armaments there, you knew what was being used. Tell me a little bit about what you went through emotionally writing something like that. It must have just ripped you inside out because you had to become that guy, I would think.
Yeah, kind of. I mean, it's just a kind of a character I fell in love with. Like, I like the idea that this guy wants peace. You know, I'm a little bit of a pacifist myself, although that passage sounds a little violent.
Yeah.
But I just like this guy's looking for redemption now after this. Like, this is an early scene in the book, and as you move through the book, you see that this guy he just wants to leave this life behind so desperately. He just wants things to be normal.
See, I read that, and as I started reading that excerpt, I thought, well, this is the protagonist. And then when I got to the baby, I thought, I don't know if I like this guy. So, and obviously he didn't like himself too much at that point either.
Exactly.
Yes. So, yeah. Wow. No, I just would think of how it would just ring you out writing something like that, and then you go upstairs and your wife says, "Well, honey, do you want to watch House Hunters on HGTV?" It's just not in the mood right now. But anyway, it's a great book. Is it only available at Amazon.com?
Right now it's only at Amazon.com, okay. That's right.
All right, so people can go online and pick it up there. After having gone through all of this, do you think you've got another one in you, Scott, or what?
Oh, yeah. I'm looking at, actually, there's a part of my family tree that has an amazing history to it, so I'm thinking that the next book might be based on that.
Okay, all right. Well, it's been really nice talking to you. I know next time you'll only be on with Piers Morgan and the Leno Show. but I got you early in the career, so I'm happy.
I'll never forget you, Bruce.
All right, Scott. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
And good luck with the book. Appreciate that. By the Grace of Good Friday, J.S. Smith. Thanks, Scott.
Thank you very much.
All right. It's 8:56.